Hello. Second part, how to print the additive monotype technique. I've got it on the press bed here. I've dampened my paper. This was soaking. I blotted it, let most of the water drip off first, then blotted it under the blotters, not newsprint. Touch it to my schnoz. Make sure it feels damp, or cold rather, and not soaking wet. And that way you know that it's damp and not really, really wet. Otherwise it'll glue it down. I'm gonna lay newsprint down on top. That's always really important. Put the felts down nice and flat. And I'm gonna crank it through. You only have to go once, but I'm gonna go back and forth just so it winds up over here. So you can see the start and finish. For the magic reveal of how good this print is going to look. Remember, it has a little bit of solvent ink on it. It also has that burnt plate oil, so we'll be able to compare. You don't want your ink too drippy when you go to do additive because it'll just splurt all over and make drips all on your paper. It'll like basically push the image through as opposed to just printing the image, if that makes sense. But sometimes it happens, it looks kind of cool. You could have like an image that just like the atmosphere or the tonality that's in the back of the trace monotype, you could go with a little bit of blurring or something, could give an interesting technique. Once you get back, you're gonna lift up the felts, lift up the newsprint, and then the moment of truth, you're gonna see how it printed, and voila, pretty fresh. One thing that I wanted to demonstrate that I forgot to was if you cut something out. Say I've got this little like blast shape right here. I could have cut that out and inked that area up in black and then set a sheet of paper down on top of the ink before I printed it. And it would give you a negative space, right? A negative shape like that stencil and masked out area. But I think this turned out pretty good. And you can kind of see the difference between painting with the burnt plate oil versus the solvent, which gets you almost like a salty look on there, as opposed to this kind of puddles up and looks, to me, this looks oily and this looks greasier, if that makes sense, right? Washy almost, like watercolor. I could also probably print the ghost of this or the cognate. There's not much left on mine, so I don't think I'll do that, but look at all with textural items. And we have a big tote in here, which I'll show you, that has textural items. But think about saving some things that you have at home, like aluminum foil or paper doilies, pieces of fabric, thin sticks, thin leaves, that sort of thing that you can actually print. Sound good? Peace. See y'all.